You found your person. Now let the Knot help you with everything else. The Knot connects you to the wedding inspo, vendors, venues, and planning tools you need to make your day totally you. Having helped plan 25 million weddings, we've got your back when it comes to every little detail like RSVPs, budgets, and more. Because your wedding comes to life with the connections that matter the most. Get started at theknot.com/audio. The Knot. Let's plan your wedding together.
Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast is now on YouTube. Go on YouTube and search Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast and click that subscribe button to never miss an episode. Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. And we are living up to that name every week, every Saturday. Every time you listen to our beautiful voices coming through to your perky ears. That sounds creepy. So I'm not the only one here today. On the other line with me is my biker gang buddy. It's good old Dougie Fresh. Dougie, man, how you doing?
I now have several questions that I didn't have in the space of time that we hit record and that you started talking.
I may or may not have the answer.
We don't have that kind of time to answer all of them, so I will answer my most urgent question. How in the world do you know if an ear is perky or not?
Well, your ears should be perky when you're listening to our beautiful voices.
But what makes an ear perky?
It just perks up. It's like, ooh. Another Pokemon episode podcast. Ooh. we have a bunch of perverts that's listening to this just laughing their ass off right now.
We've got at least one doing the damn podcast. I'm not gonna.
But all right, everybody. So today is the 36th episode of our illustrious podcast, and this week we are going over the Bridge Bike Gang, or translated from Japan, Stormy Cycling Road. And you know what? I think I'm gonna go with the Japanese subtitle this week as my favorite out of the two, Doug.
Me too. I mean, it's very to the point, but sometimes that's all you need.
Yes. So, all right. So this episode aired December 2nd, 1997 and October 23rd, 1998. So I was just telling you off air, and we will get to our history bit, Doug, but we're slowly getting up to the point where I think we only have a few episodes left to where there's only a couple months gap in between our episodes. So we're getting there. We've been doing this long enough now. It's almost been a year now.
That's crazy.
For real. But we are recording this on the last day of Black History Month, February 28th. 2021. We're doing this on a Sunday night, Doug. And it's not our usual Tuesday nights that we're recording these, but we kind of took a break. We've been very taking advantage of our backlog that we have going on, and we are staying as modern as we can with our audience.
Correct.
So, but hopefully our vacations from the podcast are up, because as of this week, we have 3 episodes that we're recording this whole week. So I'm pretty excited for that. And one of them is the Cyber Soldier Porygon episode that I am on the edge of my seat and ready to record.
I mean, in the interest of fairness, could have been 4, but a lot of shit has happened.
Yes, there was some technical difficulties, but not on our part. One of our co-hosts needed some assistance.
And we can say that, and we're not going to go further into detail. I mean, we could. He doesn't listen to this, but But yeah, well, that and I downloaded a couple things on my end that I needed to kind of do a quick troubleshoot on.
I told you to stop downloading that porn onto your computer, Doug.
And I told you I don't download it. I just stream it.
So, all right, everybody. But real quick, small catch up, Doug. How are you doing? It's been what, like about 2 or 3 weeks since we've last sat down and recorded me and you together, actually. So how are you doing?
I mean, right about now, I'm doing pretty good. I mean, last Monday, I was able to get outside for my walks after being in the house for 2 weeks.
Yeah, we had a really bad winter, and obviously this is coming out way after the point, but hats off to all you Texans out there that finally learned what it's like to drive on ice. So I salute you. I'm sorry that happened to you, and I from what I'm hearing, it might happen more often than usual out in the southern states. I guess the earth is kind of shifting from what I'm hearing, Doug.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get into a whole global warming kind of, not debate, but just, I'm not trying to do a global warming TED talk, but something that cropped up in the midst of all the cold snap that took over Texas was there are 3 power grids in the United States. There's one for the eastern seaboard, there's one for the western seaboard, and then Texas
Has its
own power grid because they don't want federal regulation. And because they're not under the federal umbrella, that means that, like, when the east and west go through weather modifications, for weather or what have you, that means those modifications are up to Texas on their own. And they weren't doing that. So the power grid wasn't winterized, so they weren't ready for it. And quite frankly, why should they be ready for it? But this was just a motherfucker.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, though. My wife was showing me some videos, and my hat's off to all of you out there that kind of embraced it and kind of have fun, because some of those videos were actually pretty fun to watch. You Texans react to ice for the first time. Not the dangerous videos, but I saw one video where a guy's like, well, I'm going to drive on ice for the first time. And then he pressed on his gas, and then he hit his brake immediately, and his truck just went whee. And he's like,
yeah, I saw that.
And he's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And then he was able to come to a stop, and he's like, whew, well, I'm going to go and park my car back. And then he tried to drive back, and he couldn't get over to the parking spot. It was funny.
And like you said, the videos where nobody gets hurt, and it's not like, oh, hey, we just tried to turn on water in our bathroom and the icicles came out. Those videos are horrible, and that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, I saw some videos where just pipes were just bursting, and a lot of people lost some stuff. And I kind of want to know what insurance companies were doing during these, because it's an act. I mean, they classify it as an act of God. So, I mean, do these people get their homes repaired for little to nothing? What did insurance companies lose a lot of money to this whole Texas ordeal? Like, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, that's something you never want to have to start digging into.
Yeah, because I'm kind of scared to find out my answer.
Something that blew my mind, because a lot of people at the outset were without power.
Yeah.
And the few people, I shouldn't say, but you know what I'm saying when I say few, people that were able to keep power basically signed up for something called wholesale electricity, which meant that it's kind of a pay per use kind of thing. And this was like an auto deduction.
Isn't that kind of how we have out here in Illinois with like ComEd, Doug?
Well, in a way,
Like you just pay for the electricity that you use?
but this was really hitting motherfuckers in the wallet because this was an auto deduction, and like a lot of bills are, it's just $200 or whatever is coming out of my wallet, for whatever this, that, and the other thing.
Yes.
People were getting bills for like $17,000
Oh my goodness. Are you serious?
just because it's like, hey, you're the only one with electricity on your block. And it's not something, I mean, yeah, you sign up for it, but it's not something, you don't ask for a $17,000 electric bill.
And how do you pay for that?
Well, you fucking
Don't.
unless you're fucking Scrooge McDuck, you don't.
So, all right. Well, like I said, hats off to all you Texans out there. I know this is way after the point. It's all nice and warm again back where you are.
Well, fuck, it's almost 50 here.
I know. So, I just wanted to throw that out there because that kind of happened during our absence. So it was something more relevant to talk about. So, on a Pokemon note, as of recording today, February 28th, 2021, I have completed my Johto Pokédex in Pokemon Go. Let's go, people.
Let's go Pikachu.
No, it's let's go, people. I'm not talking about the Switch, even though odd note for today. And so we have 4 Nintendo Switches inside of my home. We have 2 handheld and 2 that go on TV. So one of our TV Nintendo Switches today decided to take a poop. And it does not turn on anymore. So, and it just happened to be my son's Nintendo Switch. So that blows. But I mean, we have backups, but now
we have backups.
I sound like a spoiled brat, but yeah, we have backups, and it's just my son sitting there like, well, don't you know how to hack stuff, Dad? I was like, well, yeah, but I can't hack your Nintendo Switch to turn it back on. So yeah, that sucked. That was a conversation with my son I did not think I was going to have.
Now, I'm curious, and I've been curious since about Christmas time.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to go into it, but you brought it up.
All right, what's up?
Can your son plug in a game console by himself yet?
I have not showed my son how to plug in a game console. No.
Right.
No. So for everybody that's listening out there, I'm not sure if I went over this on the podcast or not because it's been a while. But so this past Christmas, my son wanted a Xbox Series X for Christmas. So we had a regular Xbox One, and what I ended up doing was, quote unquote, Santa Claus took his old Xbox One because it did not, quote unquote, work anymore. Unbeknownst to him, Santa brought it to GameStop to get a credit to go towards the Series X. So I was able to get my hands on a Series X, and it came in the mail. But my son, for his Xbox One, when he was trying to turn it on, he's like, Dad, it won't turn on. And I acted like it was still plugged up into the wall. The cord was plugged into the wall, but I took the cord out of the back of the Xbox. And my son was like, well, Dad, it won't turn on. I was like, yeah, it looks like your Xbox One kind of kicked the bucket here, man. I was like, but I'll see what Santa can do. And Santa was able to gracefully give him a Series X for Christmas. And good old Papa got a PS5. And I will kid you not that my son has been on the PS5 more than his Series X ever since he's gotten it. So just throwing that little tidbit out there for you.
So are we willing to admit that while both companies perhaps didn't handle the release of their consoles correctly, especially in the midst of a global pandemic, Sony, at least for this round, might have the superior piece of hardware?
You know what? I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say. I mean, even though yes, Sony did beat Xbox by $50 million in the war as of right now. As of right
Well,
now.
I'm not even looking. I mean, obviously, money talks. I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just as hard to get an Xbox as it is to get a PlayStation at this point still. And I'm still shocked at that because it's the last day of February. And I just saw a drop on Best Buy and GameStop yesterday because I was getting alerts left and right. And people are still crying that they still cannot get their hands on a PlayStation or Xbox.
And that's nuts.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that I am enjoying the PS5 over the Xbox, but the only reason I will say that for right now is because Cyberpunk didn't really put a good taste in my mouth. Not that I had any of those glitches that anyone else was having, because I kind of played it after the patchwork, but
Right.
but I just didn't really understand the game too much. And when I got the Xbox, I wanted Halo for the Xbox, and it was originally supposed to be a launch game, and they're bringing it out a year after the system is coming out. So I'm still currently waiting to play the game that I wanted to buy the system for. So Xbox needs to kind of get on their game, but apparently they have some things in the works, and they bought out a couple companies that they're going to have exclusives for. So we will see where this war ends.
Well, for their sake, because on its face, you go, okay, Xbox did the right thing by delaying Halo if it wasn't ready for next gen. So you go, okay, that's good. But now it better come out and be goddamn perfect,
Yep.
because they have no excuse now.
Oh, hell no.
So
And
now they've kind of painted themselves into a corner where if it's got one bug that the majority of people pick up on, what have they done with themselves?
exactly. So this better not come out and be a Cyberpunk. I'm just throwing that out there.
No, they better cross their hearts and hope, you know.
And even 2K even learned, and it better not be a WWE 2K20 come out, because people will throw their hats and just burn their Xbox. But
I mean, I understand this is a Pokemon podcast. People are fast forwarding and shit, and that's fine. So they're not going to hear this anyway. You know, used to be you'd go to a store, you'd get the game, you'd come home, and the game played how it played.
yes.
I mean, obviously now,
What is up with these glitches that games have now? Games used to be almost perfect back in the day.
well, they either were or we just learned to live with them. But now you can rush a game, and you can go, well, if it's not perfect on launch, we can just launch a patch like a week later.
Yeah.
And these companies are using patches as crutches, which is bullshit.
It is bullshit.
So,
all right. So let's go ahead and get on into the Pokemon part of our podcast, Doug.
the Pokemon part.
Pokemon is just not in the name of the podcast. So, all right, everybody. So, as you know, we go back in history on the U.S. release date for this, for each episode. And this week was October 23rd, 1998. And me and you, Doug, both looked up a few different historical moments that happened. And I believe, with mine being in 1941, that I'm going first this week.
Yes, your first legitimate victory.
It's not a first legitimate. I'm sure I've gone first before, legitimately, asshole.
Yeah, you probably have.
But On this day in 1941, Walt Disney's animated film Dumbo was released. So the good old elephant with the big old floppy ears.
You want to know something funny?
What's up?
I can almost say with certainty I've never seen it all the way through.
Really? You've never sat down and watched Dumbo? Oh, wow. Well, neither have I. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking, everybody. I have two kids.
I take back my legitimate.
I have two kids, and I have seen both the animated and the live action version, and the live action version was kind of bullshit, so we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, but the cartoon version, it's a cute cartoon. And a lot of life lessons, and I just wanted to kind of throw it out here on the podcast because it's not often that we get something that's so well known around the entire world that released on the same day on our Pokemon podcast. So I figured I'd throw it out there, and I just want to just throw out there that Walt Disney, the actual owner, helped animate that movie. So that's a side fact of this.
That's a nice little chunk to throw in there.
Yeah, he actually helped animate this movie. So, and as anyone that knows Walt Disney, he was a very, very big cartoonist, and that was his inspiration before becoming extremely famous the way that he did. So there you go. So Doug, now that I got mine out of the way, what is yours this week?
So on this day, 4 years later, so we were both kind of in the in the same time frame this go around. On this day in 1945, Jackie Robinson officially signs his contract with the Montreal Royals.
Ooh. Okay.
Who at the time were I don't know how the leagues were divvied up at the time, but they were an affiliate of the Brooklyn Dodgers. Thus beginning his process of breaking the color barrier, which he would do, just for accuracy's sake, which he would do on...
You got this, Doug.
April 15th, 1942.
There you go.
Jesus fuck. Jesus. I'm like Jackie Robinson did. Jesus fuck.
And the only reason that happened is because we're recording. Otherwise, you would have had that smack dab.
You're damn sure right. Because I had the Wikipedia page up because I wanted to fact check the contract stuff. Because, people have conflicting stuff. And, anybody can edit Wikipedia, which makes it the most accurate source of news on the internet.
Oh, absolutely.
So. But yeah, and, obviously, there was a bit of pushback in signing and being his assignment. So just for clarity's sake, this was the AAA affiliate of the Brooklyn Dodgers at the time. The manager of the Royals wanted Robinson to be assigned to another affiliate, but the owner refused. So, good on him for that one. And I mean, we see, based on the fact that he signs in 45 and he's up in the majors in 47, that's a relatively decent pace for for somebody who was at the top of an organization.
For a rookie.
Right. So yeah.
Well,
I had that queued up. I've had that queued up for a while because we were kind of stuck on this record for a while. We had a couple of start and stops.
yes.
And if we'd have done it when we were supposed to, I might have been a little fresher. But, because I was sitting there, I'm like, I know this one had something to do with baseball. I can't remember, so I'm like digging around. I was like, oh right. So yeah,
You're all
Jackie
good.
Robinson officially signs his his Major League Baseball contract. Obviously, he had been in the Negro Leagues before that.
All right. Well, go ahead with your bad self, Doug. All right. I'll never ever say that again. So that is the one.
Yeah. What do you think? Just because it's February 28th, you can get away with it?
Well, I just did, didn't I?
Well, until it comes out in the edit.
I might edit that part out. What? What time was that? 25 minutes. All right, that's an even number. I can get that. So, all right. So let's go ahead and get on into our Pokemon episode, Doug. Again, everybody, this week's episode is the Bridge Bike Gang. So we are officially out of the Safari Zone, as they mentioned at the beginning of this episode, Doug.
Yeah, which is bullshit because you wouldn't know it because we haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, we did.
Well, we did. And people listening to the podcast did. Well, I hope anyway. I mean, we don't tell people how to watch these episodes.
No, we do not. But they're fairly easy to find online, legally.
Right. But if you're a kid watching this in 1998, you didn't see no damn Safari Zone.
No, we did not.
We did not. So the narrator says, with the fond memories of the Safari Zone behind them, you're sitting there going,
What Safari Zone? the narrator would have been better off saying, and all the Tauros that Ash has caught in the Safari Zone. Like, what the fuck? What Tauros?
that you'll never see, question mark?
It's funny because they like I said, we say it every week, but it's a running gag on the show that we were not in on the joke. I just want to throw that out there. Like, right. Constantly, like Professor Oak gets run over by those Tauros like all the time, but we're not in on the joke because we don't know where the damn Tauros came from. So,
no, but we were just kids, so we were just supposed to accept it because it's cartoons and bright colors and
action. Let's go electrocute some motherfuckers. All right, so
Jesus.
So Ash starts off this episode basically looking all chummy. I mean, he's all happy. He just got out of the Safari Zone. They're finally back in the city after how many episodes? Let's see. I'm just gonna
3.
Yeah, after 3 episodes of being in the Safari Zone, and he looks over at Misty and just goes, "Feels weird to be back in a city, huh, Misty?"
And then Misty pauses for 6 minutes before she goes, "Yeah,
sure does."
Like, go back and I mean, obviously it's not 6 minutes. I'm being dramatic because I've watched it twice, but there's a pronounced pause.
Yeah, for real. So, but they're in the city, narrators going back and forth, and they're talking about what any 10 and 13-year-old would talk about. They're hungry. They want some food. And they're like, where can we get some food around here? And then all of a sudden, as they're walking, they say, what's that thing? And Ash is like, let's go see. And then they run up and they see a big, huge bridge. And this bridge looks like it goes on for miles and miles and miles, because it does. Right, Doug?
It sure does. About 10 miles. If I remember the bridge, the fucking, what you call it? There's a fucking word that I can't think of. The bridge operator, I guess.
Yeah. So
motherfucker at a toll booth. I don't know.
So not Doug.
Hello.
So Brock is looking at you're in the Pokemon episode. You just didn't know it, Doug. Brock is looking at a map. But it looks like it's a little bit of an old map because Brock is like, oh, so the bridge is finally finished. But here on the map, it says that it's still underneath construction. So they're looking, they're like, oh, cool. So we can cut straight through here and go to Sunnytown on the opposite side without having to walk all the way around. And it'll take about a week to get to the next town. We can just go right on across. So Ash gets the bright idea to just go and cross the bridge. Because, I mean, why wouldn't you?
And the guy says, and they go up to the guy in the toll booth, who I'm sure has an official sounding name that I can't think of his official job title.
He's the bridge operator.
He says, well, you can't, well, I suppose. He says, well, you can't walk. It'd be almost dark by the time you finish. And I'm sitting there going,
they walk for a living.
I was going to say, these people have been walking for like 3 months straight, you know?
What is an extra 10 miles on their legs?
Right.
So this guy is like, yeah, this bridge is still underneath construction, but if you have a bike, you can go ahead and cross the bridge because the bike path is finished. But the bridge itself, you can't really cross it because no cars can go on it right now because of all of the construction. So
they say, well, and then, you know, obviously the B word is triggering for Misty.
She's like, well, if someone didn't fry my bike, we'd be able to just go across on this bridge.
And Ash has just given up fighting at this point. He's like, yeah, well, shit happens.
Yeah, he's like, well, damn, I'm sorry. So they're like, okay, well, let's go see some of these bikes. Maybe we can just rent a bike. Maybe we can purchase a bike. And then they go and they walk up to the bike store, and Ash, Brock, and Misty look in, and they're just all sad because they see all these brand spanking new bikes, and they're overpriced. And Ash is like, yeah,
I don't know if they're overpriced, but it's just a matter of they're teenagers and
money.
Can't afford them.
I remember and I know exactly how much, because it kind of pissed me off in the original Pokemon game. So in Pokemon Red and Blue, I remember that unless you had the bike voucher to get a bike, it was $1 million. But they cap you off in the game with your money at $999,900. Yeah, you get where I'm going. So
bunch of nines.
Yeah, a bunch of nines. So they cap you at that, so you can never hit that 1 million mark in the original game. So you can never really have enough to really purchase, nor did they expect you to have that much in the game. But if you had a Game Shark, you can just max out your money like crazy and just buy whatever you want. But they never let you. So in the Pokemon episode, I'm just looking at these bikes and I'm like, these bikes are $1 million, and obviously Ash, Misty, and Brock do not have the money for a $1 million bike.
Not even to the point where they could pull something together and somebody could ride in the handlebar.
I know. They don't even have enough for the wheel of a bike, because the wheel probably costs $250,000 by itself. So it's at this point where the trio decides that they want to go to the Pokemon Center to go figure out a plan. And Misty is like, you know what? I'm brilliant. I'll figure out a plan for all of us.
So we cut to the Pokemon Center, and they're sitting there dejected, and Ash is a smartass and goes, so how's that master plan working for you? And she goes, shut up, I'm still thinking about it.
It's hilarious. Okay, and I want to talk about this for a second. So Doug, obviously you have the scene up with them sitting on the pink couch, correct?
Right.
So if you pause it and you look at these three, Does Ash not look like a teenager in this scene?
It's probably one of his more teenager looks. I mean, he's clearly slouched. He's got hand on his head. He's giving Misty the side eye.
Yeah. Pikachu's just looking at the camera, breaking the fourth wall.
Which is weird because we get to see Pikachu's feet like on a straight up angle. We don't usually see his feet from here. It's weird.
He has some big ass chonko feet.
It's not right. Is what it is.
This drawing is just all sorts of wrong. At least we get to see Ash looking like a teenager. Ash just gives no fucks. I'm just joking, everybody. I'm joking.
Which he should. I mean, but maybe he doesn't. It took him however long to finally win the Pokemon League.
I know, for real. We'll be still doing this podcast when we're freaking 40 by the time we get to that episode. So it's at this point that Nurse Joy walks into the frame, and the trio they're all defeated, they're dejected, but I still don't see why they're not thinking of just walking across the bike path on the bridge and just walking the 10 miles. I still don't get that, because they weren't told no, they can't do it. They were just told they wouldn't get there until nighttime.
Which, they're used to being out, essentially 24 hours or whatever.
For real. So, still don't really get that, but it is what it is. But Brock immediately sees Nurse Joy, and he's like, oh my goodness, please let me help you. I just love caring for Pokemon. It's my life. Please, please, miss. By the way, are you related to the Joy from Gringy City? And she's like, I'm her cousin.
And he says, well, you're much prettier than her, which obviously is the color check on the hat. It's a green cross.
Yes, green cross.
It's a green cross. It's one of the first things I realize I recognize now when I see a Nurse Joy. I go, what color is your cross?
And I forgot what city it was, but we did have another green, but this one is a dark green for her hat. So
yeah, I mean, I don't really have the time to go through
each Nurse Joy.
36 more episodes. I'm not going to go do that again just for
shits and giggles.
If it was a segment on the show, maybe if we were like keeping a spreadsheet. Yeah,
which I'm sure at some point I'll end up going back and I'll be able to have it written down, but I don't have that time right now because we're in the middle.
Nobody got time for that.
Hell no. So it's at this point that Nurse Joy is talking about a very sick Pokemon that's over in the next town, and that she can't leave the Pokemon Center to bring the Pokemon the medicine because she has to stay on duty out here. But the Pokemon will basically die if it doesn't get the medicine. It's not feeling good, which we find out that the Pokemon is a shelter.
Yes.
So Nurse Joy asks the trio, she says, I see you guys are sitting here. Would you guys mind taking this medicine over to the sick Pokemon in the next city? And the trio's like, yeah, we would love to, but we don't have a bike to get over there. And of course, Nurse Joy has a stash of bikes, and she's like, well, you can use one of ours and just drop it off at the next city.
So, basically our heroes to the rescue. So we cut to Misty and Brock on a tandem bike.
Yes.
And then Ash is leading the pack with Pikachu on his shoulder. And they're just whizzing through. And
why does Ash get his own bike and Misty and Brock have to share?
Because it's Ash's show.
He's the leader. So
that's exactly it. It says it on his business card. Ash Ketchum, I'm the leader.
So, and it's just funny because as they're trucking along on these bikes, Misty complains to Brock because apparently Brock is a lazy ass, and Misty's like, I'm doing all the pedaling. Why don't you do some of the...
It's hard to be that horny and pedal at the same time.
God. We can't make those jokes, Doug. She's 10.
I'm not talking about for her. I'm thinking he's thinking about Nurse Joy.
Oh, okay.
For goodness sake. No. The Brock is in trouble episode is coming up. It's our next one. Where I had to pause it several times and go, oh my God, Brock's going to jail.
For real.
Like tonight.
Yeah. We'll get into that episode next week. Ditto episode next week, everybody. Ditto episode.
It's a good episode, but Brock's in trouble.
Yeah, and Brock's in a lot of trouble in that episode. So, all right.
Hey, why did you do that? You should drive up interest for the next episode. Why is Brock in trouble?
You have to listen next week at 8 a.m. Central Time for the drop of the episode next Saturday. So, it's at this point that, of course, we can't have an episode yet without Team Rocket being in the episode. So, Team Rocket is here in the episode, and they are in what looks like
it's a raft.
A raft with a paddle, and James is rowing this raft, and just they're getting ready to, I guess, go into town. I guess.
Yeah, it's not really explained why they're on a raft and why they're not, in town or whatever. And basically, Meowth is just doing exposition for the audience, and it's here we get a juicy little Jesse and James nugget. We find out that they were basically raised in this town.
Yes. So this is their hometown, which kind of has a little bit of loopholes in a future episode.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw that little tidbit in, and it's not even just that, but there's like 3 different episodes, because I mean, as we alluded to on past episodes, James is extremely rich. So I mean, right. I guess this is one of his mini hometowns, but this is Jesse's hometown apparently.
Yeah, I kind of caught that she had kind of put down a little more. A bit more roots than James had.
Yeah.
If only for the fact that, and the flashback that we're about to get to, there seems to be a bit of an age difference that isn't there in present day. So I don't understand.
So, all right. So it's at this point, yeah, they're on the raft. They're rowing towards the city, and then we cut straight from that over to Ash, Misty, and Brock taking a break right before they're about to hit this bridge. And Ash is like, yeah, this is a great workout. Yeah, and Brock is like, yeah, we really lucked out getting these bikes, and it won't be long for us to get over to Sunnytown. Now, have you ever heard of Sunnytown, even in the original Pokemon game? Because I know nothing about Sunnytown, Doug.
Yeah, it was a new one to me.
So I just want to throw that out there. So
I mean, I definitely remember bike gangs.
Yes, I definitely remember the bike gangs, because they used to piss me off in the game, because I'd just be trying to get to the next town, and I'd be riding my bike, and all of a sudden someone just stops me on their bike. Oh, hey, I want to battle.
Well, no, and it's not even just someone. There was like 3 or 4 of them in a row, so you get one, and then you get a few more feet, and then what? Exclamation mark, and you deal with that guy.
It got to the point where once I got to the next town, I never took that bike road again. Like I just, and then I'll never forget that there's a few patchy spots in the grass or for grass on the bike trail where you can get exclusive Pokemon. But if you hopped over the thing by accident, you could not go back. You had to start all the way over at the top again. It was very, very troublesome.
It's like, God damn it, I'm trying to get a save spot here. I got to go to bed in 5 minutes.
I know, for real.
Shit.
So, all right, but it's at this time that Ash and the gang are getting ready to head out on their bikes, and as soon as they get on their bikes, we get hit with the biker gang of the episode. Doug, do you want to take it from here?
So yeah, they're driving, and the biker gang is obviously coming from the opposite direction, and Brock correctly identifies them as a bike gang.
And that they need to get out of there.
And Misty seems concerned, and they said, well, and the leader, I should say the male leader, or the male spokesman, because these people aren't really, well, I guess I take that back. They're identified, but I can't remember their, because Jesse and James call them out by name, but I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But the male leader speaks up, and he says, we've never seen you around before. And Ash goes, well, we're not really from the area, so if you don't mind, we're just going to keep going. And
Ash don't want no trouble.
And he goes, well, so that's kind of rude. You're just going to leave without a proper introduction. So they literally go over and shake this motherfucker's hand.
Hi,
3 of them.
Hi, I'm Ash. Hi, I'm Misty. Hi, I'm Brock.
And they go to leave again, and they're on the opposites from the shot. It looks like they're on the opposite side. So why didn't they just keep, literally, just keep going?
For real.
I mean, obviously they were going to chase you for a little bit, but this gang seems very territorial, so they were going to stop at a certain point.
And then this fine hunk of a woman just says, "That's not
hunk of a woman." Hunk of a woman.
Yes, this fine hunk of
a woman.
I'm just chock full of them today.
I never know what I'm going to hear when I get on to one of these recording sessions.
Chuck that into one of our
hunk of a woman
in our blooper reel one day. Jesus. But so she shut up. We're trying to review an episode, Doug. I can't be sitting there laughing for 5 minutes. Stop it. So,
well, hey, if that mute button you showed me worked, you could just keep going. I could just be laughing to myself, but apparently that doesn't work.
I know. So it only works on the person that's recording. So this woman stops and says, when we say introduction, we mean Pokemon battle. So it's time.
And I'm sitting there going, just say that to begin with. We all know Pokemon exist.
Exactly. And then you get Ash in battle mode, and he's like, ooh, you ready? I accept. And freaking Brock starts getting all smitten in the back.
Yeah, you missed a hell of a well, I don't know if you missed it. I'm sure you're coming up to it. Brock has a great zinger here.
He's like, I'd like an introduction to you. Would you go out with me?
She goes, get lost. I only care about my bike and my gang. He goes, is that a no? Go, Brock.
Oh, stop it, man. Stop it. You horny little man. Oh, but in his defense, that is one hunk of a woman. I'm just
hunk of a woman. No, we're gonna make that work. We're gonna make that work. I don't know how, and I don't know where, and I don't know when.
It's gonna.
I mean, it's going over to the other show. I can tell you that much right now.
Oh, jeez. Oh no.
I promise you.
Oh, jeez. Oh man, what did I do? What did I do?
Hunk of a woman.
Yes, hunk of a woman. So, all right.
Tattoos. So, it's Ash versus the. And it's gonna really bother. I mean, I'm gonna have to.
We'll get their names once Jesse and James come up.
Right. So the male spokesman versus Ash, and the male spokesman brings out a Golem, which I had another moment with Ash where I just had to throw my hands up.
Like, how do you not know what a Golem is?
Because Golem comes out, and obviously, and I shouldn't have to be going over this on our 37th episode. Is it 37?
No. This is the 36th episode.
36. I keep because on the counter it says 34, but they're not counting this. So I shouldn't have to go over this on our 36th episode. But one of the main hooks of Pokemon is that they can only, except for Meowth, they can only say their name.
Yes, Golem.
So the motherfucker comes out of the Pokeball, says Golem, and Ash with no sense of sarcasm or any kind of, like, he's in on the joke, goes, "What's that?" Except the motherfucker just said his name.
Well, some Pokemon don't say their name, but we'll get into that on a later episode.
Well, no, I mean, some Pokemon, it's just a growl. I understand that.
So,
the motherfucker just said his name. That's all he can say.
Golem. But he comes out and the Pokedex goes, Golem, a megaton Pokemon. Once a year, it sheds its bedrock shell and grows larger. And
so I said, shit, but apparently that's different from an evolution.
Yeah. So Ash actually gets the right Pokemon, but his Pokemon doesn't know the right moves to face this Golem. But he brings out a Bulbasaur, which if he had a stronger Bulbasaur would have been the perfect match for Golem. So I'm gonna take my hat off to Ash for this moment real quick.
No, I mean, and we can talk shit on Ash, and we have for a lot of these episodes. A bulk of these episodes is let's all dunk on Ash and how clueless he is and how bad of a trainer he is and how just much of a dick he is. But in this instance, he was right. He's just got an underprepared Bulbasaur. Yeah,
and he got called out too because the leader of the biker gang was like, "What is that?" He's like, "That whippy." Because Ash called out a vine whip on the on the Golem, and he's like, "That whippy vine whip attack will never get through Golem's shell. Golem's shell is too hard." And
he's right. And poor Bulbasaur gets tackled, and that's the end of Bulbasaur.
Yeah, and what a tackle it was too. I'm surprised that Bulbasaur didn't go in the water, like off the bridge into the water.
And I'm sitting here going, should he and I mean, obviously they're not on the... Well, they are, aren't they? They're on the bridge.
Yeah, they're battling on the bridge, just like in the video game.
So should Golem be doing tackle on this freshly constructed bridge?
Well, I mean...
No.
If they made the bridge properly, it shouldn't break.
But this is a megaton Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a megaton.
There's some serious shit rolling here.
But this Golem can't weigh more than a car, can it?
Possibly. That's undetermined at this particular moment.
And I also had an instance on this because Bulbasaur got knocked the fuck out. And Ash didn't run over to Bulbasaur. He just gave him the dumb look, and Misty ran over to Bulbasaur and was like, "Are you okay, Bulbasaur?"
And, well, Ash gets in battle mode once that hat goes backwards.
And and Ash is like Ash literally, and I'm looking at subtitles as we're doing this, literally growls and says, "Return, Bulbasaur." Like, you asshole.
He was watching Rocky, and he was really taken by the scene where he goes, "If he dies, he dies."
Line of the podcast: if he dies, and hunk of a woman.
Hunk of a woman.
So, all right, but Ash gets in battle mode again and goes, "You know what? When times get hard, who do I call out? I call out Charmander." And Charmander just gets fucking... He always gets the butt of the joke in this damn Pokemon show because he comes out, he does fucking fire spin and fucking starts heating up Golem, and Golem just turns red, and then when he turns red, he's just a big thing of... Oh, wait, no. Golem tried to do a body slam, but Charmander...
He tried to do a body slam, Charmander got out of the way, then he hit him with fire spin, which heated his whole body up, and the guy says, "Do a tackle," and it's just a rolling
ball of fire. Flame. Yeah, just a big ball of fire. And I'm just like, well, damn, Golem is fucking more vicious than ever, but Charmander had to fucking run out of the way. And so did everybody else in the biker gang because everyone started on fire as soon as Golem caught on fire.
But then I'm on this great screenshot of Ash and Charmander laughing, and they both have their hands on their hips just big old open mouth laughs. Just Charmander's really fucking pleased with himself.
Because Unbeknownst to us, Charmander, once he becomes a teenager, he's such a dick.
Just a dick,
and this is and Ash is just training him so well right now.
So the one thing I did enjoy was the trainer calls Golem back, and the fucking Pokeball heats up.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, so I'm thoroughly confused. I feel like I'm learning things every day when it comes to the
Pokemon.
the makeup of a Pokeball. Like, I don't, So I'm assuming if heat of an on-fire Pokemon is transferable, then if a Pokemon is in their Pokeball, they can hear trainers.
Yes. Well, yeah.
So,
well, we went over that in a previous episode. So
we did, yeah.
So you're 100% right. A Pokemon can hear you while inside of its Pokeball, and I guess when a Pokemon is on fire, the Pokeball turns on fire too. So, God forbid a Pokemon to get burned and you have to bring it to the Pokemon Center.
Right. I'm saying, okay, so but that's another discussion, because at what point does that stuff, and all that good stuff.
You know what? I just had an epiphany, Doug. So in the game, when a Pokemon gets poisoned, burned, or anything like that, when you're walking, the Pokemon's dying inside of the Pokeball until you get it to the Pokemon Center. It's like every 3 or 4 steps, the screen will go, and it's like the Pokemon's dying until you get it to the Pokemon Center. Do you remember that in the game?
Right.
So I guess that
and then
I guess that's the instance that we're going with here.
I mean, just kind of thinking about it, yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me.
So I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna run with it.
So the female spokesman steps up and goes, "Well, now it's my turn," and she calls out a cloister.
And Ash again goes, "What is that?" I mean, Cloyster just comes out and goes, "Cloy." So, I mean, in his defense for this one, he could have thought that thing was just a Cloy.
Well, fair. Yeah, at this point, if that's what we're going off of, yeah.
But he pulls out the Pokedex, and the Pokedex goes, "Cloyster, a bivalve Pokemon. Its shell is incredibly strong and resistant to a bomb. Its shell only opens when it attacks." And Ash is like, "Okay, no sweat." And Missy's like, "It's a water Pokemon. Let me battle it." And this is where we get a funny moment in the show.
Which one goes, "You battle"?
Hold on. I had it paused up. So, oh yeah, the girl goes, "Yeah, you battle?" And Ash is like, "All right, well, let her go on and battle then." And Misty's thinking in her head as to which Pokemon that she wants, and she's like, "I know, I'm gonna battle you with Stormy." And fucking Psyduck comes out.
And then she's like, "Well, shit, he's out there, isn't he?"
Yep. And she's like, "All right, go give it a try." And Psyduck is fucking happy. He's like, "Psyduck, Psyduck, Psyduck," as he's walking, and he's looking around, and he gets confused, and the whole biker gang just starts laughing at her. I felt bad.
Yeah, because for all Psyduck knows, he's just out and having some fresh air. He's just happy to be out of there, and he can wagging his butt. He's having a good old time.
And what the fuck was up with Misty in this instance? Because the attack that she calls out is fucking Tail Whip. What the fuck is Tail Whip gonna do to a fucking Cloyster?
It's gonna do about the same that fucking Scratch is gonna do.
I guess so. Sigh. As he wiggles his butt, and Ash can't hold back his laughter either. And Pikachu is just telling Ash, basically, "Ash, shut up."
Hey man, shut up.
And he backs up into one of Cloyster's spikes on its shell and just pokes itself.
And, Misty kind of starts coming around. She's like, well, wait until they figure out his real power. And she's like, use confusion, use your, and then Brock has to go. Misty, his headache's not strong enough. So she turns on a dime and goes, come on, Cloister, give it a good shot. Go for the head.
And the fucking biker gang is like, she's even cheering for us now. And they just start laughing at her again. I felt so bad for fucking Cloister in this instance. And Cloister just comes up and just clamps on freaking Psyduck, and they're like, Psyduck needs help. I'll give you a headache myself.
Yeah. She goes, and she picks up her fucking, one of the bikes, and Brock's like holding her back, and thankfully for Psyduck's sake, fucking the Fuzz shows up.
Yeah, freaking Team Rocket come out singing they're on unicycles. And
no, it's Officer Jenny. No, it isn't.
No, it's not. It's Jesse and James.
It wasn't. I thought it was Jen. No, she's coming later.
Yes. So Jesse and James come up with Meowth, and Jesse and James are on unicycles, and they're making their grand introduction to the biker gang, who we end up finding out know Team Rocket. And we finally get the girl's name with the hunk of a woman. Her name is Tyra.
Tyra. Get it? Tyra.
Yeah. And they call them Big Jess. And then the leader, his name is Chopper. He's like, you're looking good, Chopper. And he's like, Little Jim. Big Jess and Little Jim, what's that all about? Ash goes. And Team Rocket then has to explain that they used to live in this town back in the day, and they were the leader of this of this biker gang.
And apparently they called Jesse
Chainer Jess.
Chainer Jess, and James was Trainer Jim.
Yep.
Because Jesse had a chain that she would swing around, which
Trainer James,
frankly, seemed Trainer James, and then we see a flashback of Jesse riding her bike, swinging a chain, which quite frankly seemed very dangerous, and
James on fucking training wheels,
and I got a bit of an age gap between Jesse and James, and maybe on second look, maybe it's not as pronounced as I thought it was.
Well, I got it. It kind of looks like because obviously we've kind of established during this podcast that Team Rocket seems like they're at least in their 20s, like they're a little older. But I'm guessing this biker gang, they were just little kids when Jesse and James were kind of running things. So this biker gang looked up to them because they thought that Jesse and James were so cool because they were so little when they knew them.
Right.
And I kind of got that from because Ash, Misty, and Brock kind of was like, well, they seem kind of lame. Those are some lame nicknames, like, ew. So, all right.
And then,
but yeah,
they make a comment about, looks like, you've really grown up and made something of yourself. And, oh yeah, it was just a couple of minutes early on Officer Jenny showing up. And then, they make a crack about how they're still messing around with, a bike gang and how the cool people are riding motorcycles, and Tyra makes a crack. You must save a ton on wheels. Oh shit!
And then the fuzz starts coming, and it's Officer Jenny.
Well, before that, the fucking all it takes is like 5 seconds for Jesse, because they reveal that they're on Team Rocket, and it takes like 5 seconds for Jesse and James to convince the gang to basically get
Ash's
the
Pokemon.
trio and get all their Pokemon. And then about the time where it was about to fucking go down, that's when Officer Jenny shows up.
Yes. And then after that, we cut to a scene where it looks like our the trio already kind of explained themselves. And Officer Jenny's like, "Oh, so you're not part of the biker gang. You were just trying to get the medicine over to the sick Pokemon." Okay, well, you can go on. And she's like, "I'll give you an escort."
And I'm sitting here, and I mean, it's going to become more relevant towards the end of the episode, but I had multiple times where I just threw my hands up at this episode.
How are they able to cross this entire bridge with an escort if the bridge is not fucking finished, which we established at the beginning of this episode?
Well, yeah. Well, the bridge isn't finished, but the bike lane is.
But they're giving him an escort on by freaking
She's got a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, she has a motorcycle. Okay, never mind. So we cut.
I had the same thought myself. Trust me, you're not alone.
So, it goes straight from that. We have a lot of time gaps in this episode. So, so we go straight from that scene to this next scene where it's completely black clouds and it's fucking storming. And it's storming so bad, but Ash and the gang are so determined to get this medicine over to this sick Pokemon in the next town. And James and Jesse are looking at them from the water, and they're riding through this storm. Man, those kids are gonna get all wet. Oh no, they're not in the water. They're in like a little hut, just hiding out from Officer Jenny. And it's at this time that the biker gang meets up with Little James and and Big Jess. And they're like, let's go through this storm together. We can go through. You can lead us into the eye of the storm. We can do this. And freaking Jesse and James kind of get a little nervous because they're like, well, we could
if we wanted to,
but we don't want to. So, all right, I'll let you take this next part, Doug.
So, yeah, basically, Jesse and James are kind of hemming and hawing and kind of kicking at dirt and all that stuff. And the fucking gang gives this whole bit, you're Big Jesse, Little Jim. We would, you were the heart and soul of the group and all this, that, and the other. We would follow you anywhere. We love you and all this stuff. And it basically fires them up to go, yeah, we could fucking take the storm. It's a little rain. Who doesn't want to get a little wet once in a while?
For real.
So they're all rah-rahed up, and poor Meowth goes, well, I'd love to go with you, but and fucking Chopper leans down and goes, Meowth, we would never think about leaving you behind.
And we cut straight from that to both Nurse Joys talking to each other. And this is when we find out that the sick Pokemon is a shelter. Because Nurse Joy is like, they haven't made it back yet? I really hope they make it in time. This shelter's dying. And we cut to the next scene, and Ash, Misty, and Brock are biking through this nasty ass storm, and they're getting through it, and then all of a sudden the bridge starts raising because a boat's getting ready to go through. Right.
And it's worth noting, just for stupidity's sake, that Jesse and James are on their unicycles.
Because why wouldn't they? They're just stupid enough to think that they can battle this nasty storm on a bike with one wheel.
And they're sitting there, and it's abundantly clear that our heroes aren't going to make it. And Misty kind of goes, well, what are we going to do? And Ash goes, we're going to bounce. And, because they're basically meeting in midair. Team Rocket's coming from one direction, Ash and the crew are coming from another. And so, they literally bounce off of Jesse and James's heads to the other side. Fucking Team Rocket ends up in the goddamn drink.
Yep.
And Ash and the gang are they're high on the hog. They're basically they're on top of the world. And once again, they're faced up with the gang, and he says, "Now you got to battle us." And Ash goes, "I'm helping a sick Pokemon get out of the way." And I'm sitting there going, why didn't he fucking say this before? This episode could have been 5 minutes.
Yes. So
what in the absolute shit? Oh, we're not from here. We're passing through. We're running an errand for Joy at the Pokemon Center. We've got to get medicine over to Sunnytown. Oh, by all means, go away or don't go. By all means, go through. Sorry to disturb you.
Well,
episode's over.
Well, if they did that, Doug, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about this episode. This episode could have been 5 minutes long, and they could have chucked that to the end of last week's episode.
Well, fine, because it makes no sense. Why didn't he say, "I've got this medicine"? I mean, I get teenage pride and all that bullshit, but God.
It's a kids show, Doug. Kids show. Remember.
I understand. It's a kids show. I get that. It's a hunk of a woman. I get it.
But they finally make it through, and they get to, and they're led by the biker gang to get through this storm, and they finally make it over to the Pokemon Center, and they give the medicine over to Nurse Joy and
Pink Cross.
What's up?
Pink Cross on the Joy in Sunnytown.
Yes, Pink Cross. I didn't even notice that. Good catch, Doug.
Well, I can't help it now.
Your ADD's kicking in.
What color is the cross?
And we get to see freaking Super Potion work on a Pokemon like right in the episode, because as soon as Nurse Joy sprinkles the medicine in on the Pokemon, Shelter becomes alive again.
Which, I don't know if it worked. We don't know if it. I mean, we had this. What were we discussing earlier? Episodes back, we had this discussion about. We don't know how it actually works. Stones. Evolution stones.
Yes. So, all right, but we go through, and Chopper goes ahead and gives Ash the nickname Awesome Ash. He's like, from now on, you're Awesome Ash. And Tyra looks at Misty, and she's like, you are Mighty Misty. And you want to give Brock comes in. He's like, you can call me Honey.
And he just gets is it like a Street Fighter punch where when you lose in Street Fighter, you just fall in slow motion?
Yeah. So Brock gets slapped in the face, and he just goes over and
fuck that. Yeah, it is a slap, because she does kind of have an open hand. I was like, fuck that, it's a punch, but no, her hand is definitely on the screen. I have it screenshot. Poor Brock has just got a mark in his face. He's just up in the air.
So we go over to the narrator, basically saying that we have a happy ending for all except for one group, and we get a look at freaking Team Rocket again.
Because we can't assume, even though they've blasted off, 33 times before this or whatever it's been, we can't assume that they're dead. So they come rising out of the water, and they're tracking through the beach, and they go past the pier, and they go, well, this is a vicious cycle.
Yep. Get it? Because it was a biker episode. Ha ha ha.
And that's the end of the episode.
So,
and I'm assuming, and we didn't do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and guess that the Who's That Pokemon.
I actually don't know this week because I was watching it via YouTube. I was not watching it on my DVD this week.
Just for my sake, so I can get it.
Okay, go ahead and get it for us, Doug.
I'm gonna, for the record, I want it shown that I think and I mean you can't tell that I don't already have the answer up, and I'm gonna say Golem. And the answer, according to Bulbapedia, is Cloyster.
Oh, nice.
Cloyster?
Yes, Cloyster.
No.
Yes. And thank you for telling me that the Who's That Pokemon is on Bulbapedia because I had no idea. So I'm gonna be looking it up on there from now on.
Yeah, about a little over halfway down the page usually.
Oh, okay, cool. So, all right.
Cloyster. I disagree.
Well, it's one of those episodes that got you, Doug, and they got you.
Yeah. What was the other one? Where they it was Tentacruel, and it was the fucking Who's That Pokemon was Horsey.
Yes.
I'm like, fuck me.
So, all right. Well, I think we're pretty much good to go now, Doug. Next week's episode is called Ditto's Mysterious Mansion, or translated from Japanese, Metamon and the Copycat Girl. So, you know what? I like Metamon and the Copycat Girl, but Ditto's Mysterious Mansion kind of has a little ring to it.
Well, I like Ditto's Mysterious Mansion a little better because it actually shouts out the Pokemon. I'm sure Metamon is the
Japanese translation.
Japanese translation.
Yeah.
But I Ditto's Mysterious Mansion.
It works for you?
Sounds like almost like it could have been like an N64 game.
Yeah, that works. So yeah, we are good to go. That's next week's episode, and also I'm preparing everybody just in case you're not listening to this in order or you're listening to this a year down the line. We have our Cyber Soldier Porygon episode coming up in 2 weeks, an episode that never aired here in the US, and we will be covering that and all of its glory, and we will make sure to watch that episode in bright lights because this episode made a lot of kids sick over in Japan.
Well, and I think you should be a little more broad with your, because you said it didn't air here in America. Apparently, we've got Canadian listeners, so we should just be safe and say it never aired outside of Japan, and even in Japan, according to what you said, it only aired once.
Yes, it did only air once, and they never edited the episode. They never re-edited the episode. Everything was a one-shot go because as soon as all those kids got sick, the episode was taken down. So this episode only had one appearance. A couple people were able to snab it and record the episode, and that's how we have it out here today. But other than that, yeah, you're gonna have to find your own way to watch it. We are not endorsing that you watch that episode. By the way, I do not. I know I put on almost every single description that I put out there. Let's watch and find out. Yeah, I'm not putting that for Cyber Soldier Porygon. So no.
I mean, it's one thing when we were talking about Beauty at the Beach or The Legend of Dratini, but yeah,
that episode made a lot of people sick.
If you're in a very bright room with good lighting, don't try to fucking be a hero and watch this at 10:30.
If you're not prone to seizures or you're sensitive to lights or anything, by all means, I guess, find the episode and watch it through. But we're not endorsing that. I myself, I will throw it out there. I have seizures, but I know how to be able to watch the episode a safe way. I was stupid and didn't do that the first time, and luckily I did not have a seizure. But I completely forgot that they had that scene, and I was watching it in a dark room, and bah, 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 bah. I was like, whoa, bright lights. Oh my gosh. Close my eyes. Oh my gosh, I can still see the lights. So, but yeah, that's it. That's in 2 weeks, everybody. So just prepare yourself for that. As we stated before, Ditto's Mysterious Mansion is coming up next, and that's gonna be a fun episode. Me and you both have already watched that episode, Doug, and we kind of said that between the Bridge Biker Gang and that episode, that the Ditto episode is more of our favorite of the two.
Yeah, and it's not even that close.
Yeah. So, all right, everybody. So, Doug, go ahead and say your goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.
And this is Wrestling Chris G telling all of you I will see you next week for our Ditto episode. Have a good night, everybody.